You know the feeling. It's late in the evening, you're pacing around your living room, and suddenly your wrist vibrates. Digital fireworks go off, the rings close, and you get that little hit of dopamine. You hit your step goal. If you look at almost any fitness app, smartwatch, or health tracker on the market, they all default to the exact same daily target: 10,000 steps. It is universally treated as the baseline for human fitness. But why that exact number? If you dig into the medical literature to find the clinical trial or the team of cardiologists that discovered the 10,000 step rule, you won't find one. Our modern obsession with this specific target began with a historical accident. In the mid-1960s, Japan was experiencing a massive industrial and economic boom. Alongside this rapid modernization, local walking and fitness clubs started springing up everywhere. Seeing an opportunity, a company called Yamasa Clock launched a massive marketing campaign in 1965 to sell a brand new commercial fitness device to the public. They called their new electronic pedometer the Monpoke, which translates directly into English as 10,000 steps meter. The company didn't arrive at 10,000 through biological testing. They chose it because it was a round, memorable number that sounded like an achievable psychological challenge. The marketing worked. Japanese walking clubs rapidly adopted the Monpoke and its arbitrary numerical target as their standard, and from there, it spread globally. Which means that right now, millions of people are feeling genuine guilt and stressing over a medical threshold invented entirely by a 1960s advertising executive. It wasn't until much later that actual researchers decided to test the advertising claim. A landmark study published in JAMA Internal Medicine, led by Dr. I-Min Lee at Harvard, finally investigated the relationship between step counts and longevity. The scale of the investigation was massive. They tracked the daily steps and mortality rates of over 16,000 older women over several years. This chart maps out exactly what they found. Down here on the x-axis is the daily step count, and on the y-axis is the mortality risk. They established a baseline with the most sedentary group, taking roughly 2,700 steps daily. As the step count increases, the results are immediate. Hitting just 4,400 steps a day correlates to a 41% reduction in mortality compared to the baseline. But as people walked more, the researchers noticed a clear pattern of diminishing returns. The benefits kept accruing, just at a slower rate. And right around the 7,500 step mark, the line completely plateaus. Taking 10,000 or even 12,000 steps offered almost no further decrease in mortality risk compared to those walking 7,500. The data is definitive. The universal 10,000 step goal that your watch demands of you is an overprescription by roughly 25%. So why does 7,500 steps work so well? To understand the plateau, we have to look past the top-line mortality statistics and check what's actually happening inside the body while you walk. Mechanically, a steady walking pace forces the heart muscle to become more efficient, pumping more blood with less effort. That strengthening process consistently lowers systolic blood pressure by an average of 4 to 9 points while clearing out bad cholesterol. Walking also plays a critical role in managing blood sugar and insulin response. Looking at this simplified cross-section of muscle tissue, you can see how it works. Every time your muscles contract to take a step, they act like a biological sponge, actively pulling in floating glucose from your bloodstream to use as fuel. This constant consumption stabilizes blood sugar spikes and boosts insulin sensitivity. Reaching that 7,500 step threshold is an active, daily shield against cardiovascular disease and type 2 diabetes. The mechanical benefits to your heart and muscles are only half the equation. The physical movement also triggers a cascade of effects in the brain. Sustained walking triggers a steady release of endorphins. In clinical studies, this chemical shift consistently reduces baseline anxiety, fatigue, and total mood distress. Researchers at Stanford University decided to test how this physical activity influences higher cognitive functions. They found that the physical act of walking significantly increases a person's creative output and the free flow of new ideas, often long after the walk itself has ended. A daily walking habit acts as a potent neurological tool for mental clarity, right alongside its capacity to extend your lifespan. A 1960s marketing gimmick tricked millions of people into adopting a habit that actually saves lives. Even though the 10,000 step meter was a fabricated target designed to sell pedometers, the core underlying message was correct: humans need to move. But the next time your smartwatch buzzes and you notice you're a few thousand steps short of your daily rings, you don't need to pace around your living room to make up the difference. If you're hitting anywhere between 4,400 and 7,500 steps, your body is already locking in the optimal cardiovascular and neurological benefits. Modern science has finally given us permission to ignore the arbitrary 10,000-step rule. The daily dose of movement your body actually requires is far more achievable than a clock company wanted us to believe.